All right, so it's 7:01. We're set to start at 7, so we're not doing too bad. So good evening, everyone. Just a quick overview of the format for tonight. Right now, we're gonna get started in a few minutes. Barry, who you can see on your screen there, will give a presentation about the Lake Major water regulations. Following that, we will respond to typed questions submitted using the questions function in GoToWebinar. We'll show you how to use that in just a moment. And following that, we will give members of the public who have used the raise hand function the ability to turn on their microphone and ask questions directly. We'd like to mention that we request that everyone be respectful in making comments and posing questions. Any use of disrespectful language will result in that member of the public being muted for the remainder of the session. And also that this meeting is being recorded and will be published online, so please do not provide any personal information that you do not wish to be published online. So to submit a typed question, you will see a question mark icon. You can click on that, and at any point throughout the meeting, you are able to type in a question. And when we get to the handwritten questions, or the typed questions rather, in the section, I'll read them aloud, and Barry will be given the opportunity to respond. And once we get to the audio back and forth section, you'll be able to turn on your microphones. So we ask that you use the raise hand function. There's a little hand icon up there that will show us that you're interested in speaking. When we get to that part of the session tonight, we will one at a time give you the opportunity to do so. So with that, I'll hand things off to Barry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barry Geddes, your presenter for the evening. I hold the position of Watershed Manager with Halifax Water. I'd like to thank Jake Fulton, our moderator for this evening's presentation, and the rest of Halifax Water staff for their support during the public engagement sessions. As Jake mentioned, Halifax Water is conducting public engagement sessions to seek the public's input on changes to the Lake Major Protected Water Area regulations and designation. Tonight's presentation consists of full slides, which is being recorded and will be posted to our website, www.halifaxwater.ca. Please feel free to share with others. Our next slide. Purpose of this meeting is to ensure the local communities neighboring the Lake Major Protected Watershed are involved in any potential changes to provincial regulations related to this area. It is the local communities who are impacted the most by the regulations. Nonetheless, input from others, public members, are also important and must be taken into consideration. We'll be highlighting existing inconsistencies in the current regulations for the Lake Major Protected Water Area. These inconsistencies create confusion for the public and cause enforcement deficiencies and gaps. We'll also be engaging local residents who gather feedback and help inform any recommended changes to the regulations to the Government of Nova Scotia. Our next slide is about the background. In 2021, inconsistencies were identified in the Lake Major Protected Water Area regulations, which have created confusion and enforcement issues or gaps for Halifax Water. The Lake Major Watershed Advisory Board agreed with the inconsistencies and recommended that Halifax Water make a request to the Nova Scotia Department of Environment and Climate Change to request a full public review of the regulations. This can be found at our website, novascotia.ca/just/regulations/regs/ENVPWLMR.HCM. In early 2022, Nova Scotia Environment appointed Halifax Water to lead the public consultation process to update the Lake Major Protected Water Area designation and regulations. The regulations are created under the Environment Act, which is the responsibility of Nova Scotia Environment and Climate Change. Therefore, any changes must be approved by NSECC, Nova Scotia Environment. Halifax Water is committed to an open, transparent public consultation review process to gather information to update the Lake Major Protected Water Area designation and regulations. The update will improve Halifax Water's ability to take a holistic approach to managing the protected water area and provide clarity to its customers and the general public on what activities are permitted within the protected water area. You can submit your comments or feedback in the following ways. You can either mail in your comment in a letter to Lake Major Watershed Engagement Team, care of Halifax Water, 450 Cowie Hill Road, PO Box 8388, RPO, CSC, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3K5M1. Or you can complete an online feedback form at halifaxwater.ca/LMWPWA. Lake Major protected water area regulation inconsistencies, as you can see here on the table on slide 4, lists the current activities that are inconsistently regulated or omitted from the current watershed regulations. This is not a complete list, rather ones considered to be the priority to address. Our public consultation timeline. Halifax Water met with and was appointed by Nova Scotia Environment and Climate Change to conduct the public engagement sessions. As a result, a public consultation strategy was developed and approved by Nova Scotia Environment. The strategy was also shared with the Lake Major Watershed Advisory Board. The consultation strategy includes the following. So stage 1, public consultation sessions. There's a few items of impacted HRM councillors were contacted. A letter was sent to all landowners within the protected water area. The Lake Major newsletter, which serves all the Lake Major watershed area, was sent out with the appropriate information. Halifax Water also sent out info through its social media outlets. As well, 5 in-person sessions are held between September 20th and October 24th of 2022. An online session of October 19th, 2022, which is today. All comments for stage 1 must be received by Halifax Water by November 18th of 2022. Over the next month, the comments will be reviewed and taken into consideration when the changes to the regulations are being proposed. Stage 2 of the public consultation process, the December 19th of 2022, the proposed changes of stage 2 to the Lake Major Watershed Protected Area Regulations public review period begins. They will be made available for review using a similar process of stage 1. All comments for stage 2 must be received by Halifax Water by January 19th of 2023. The final stage is proposed regulation amendment submitted. The final proposed changes will be submitted to Nova Scotia Environment and Climate Change for review and approval by the end of January of 2023. The final approved amendments that will be sent to a Nova Scotia Environment will be available on the Halifax Water website. Public notification and implementation of the Lake Major Protected Water Area Regulation is expected to occur in 2023 following the province's approval of the changes. Our next slide. So what is a watershed? A watershed is an area of land that drains or sheds water into a specific water body. Every body of water has a watershed. Watersheds drain rainfall and snowfall and everything they collect along the way into streams and rivers. These smaller bodies of water flow into larger ones, including lakes, bays, and oceans. This includes, as you can see here from the map, all groundwater and all surface water that drains into a large body of water. Our next slide consists of the protected water areas of Nova Scotia. So roughly there are 25 protected water areas across the province. The regulations are heavily influenced by watershed communities, and there are no 2 protected water areas that have the same regulations. As that can be seen here on this map, the area highlighted in yellow are the 3 protected water areas that that Halifax Water is responsible for. Depicted to your right is a closer view of those watersheds. Our next slide is an example of the 25 protected water areas and the matrix of regulations. As mentioned, no 2 watersheds have the same regulations. As you can see, it's a very busy slide, and if you break it down to the right-hand side, that's depicted in the blue. That's the three watersheds that Halifax Water looks after: Lake Major, Pockwalk, and Bennery, and some of the regulations that pertain to the activities. Our next slide, under the understanding the protected water area governance structure. The protected water areas are governed under the Environment Act. Section 106(1) of the Environment Act allows the operator of a waterworks to request in areas surrounding a water supply to be designated as a protected water area. Section 106(3) of the Environment Act allows the operator of a waterworks to be responsible for taking all measures to protect the designated area. And Section 106(6) of the Environment Act allows the operator of a waterworks to request regulations to prohibit, restrict, or require the doing of any act to protect the protected water area. So Halifax Water manages three protected water areas, as mentioned. You can see the three here: the Lake Major Protected Water Area, the Pockwalk Lake Protected Water Area, and Bennery Lake Protected Water Area. Slide 10, provincial protected water area regulations versus municipal bylaws. Protected water area regulations are not land use bylaws. Bylaws are created and enforced by the respective municipal government. Protected water area regulations are a separate set of provincial regulations created under the Environment Act to regulate activities considered a risk to the water supply and surrounding area. Created by the public engagement and enforcement by the waterworks operator, which in the case of the Lake Major Protected Water Area is Halifax Water. Land use bylaws are created and enforced by the applicable municipality. In the case of HRM, it's Halifax Regional Municipality. There are 4 HRM plan areas, each with its own set of land use bylaws and policies governing the land use activities within the Lake Major Protected Water Area. These bylaws are the responsibility of HRM and are applied in addition to the protected water area. So as depicted to the right in the map, the outline in red is the provincially designated protected water area. And in the background, you can see 4 different colors, starting with the right-hand top side in orange. That's District 8 and 9, Lake Echo Porters Lake bylaw area. The next one to the left of that is in yellow is the District 14 and 17 Shubenacadie Lakes bylaw area. Below that in green is the Cole Harbour Westfall Plan area. And to the right of that bottom right corner is the North Preston, Lake Major, Lake Loon, Cherrybrook, East Preston Plan area. These are all governed by HRM. To learn more about HRM land use bylaws, please contact your local planning and development officer. So source water protection. The first step in the multivariate approach to providing safe, high quality, reliable drinking water to the residents of HRM is source water protection. Halifax Water is responsible for protecting the source water lakes and watersheds. The figure on your right-hand side demonstrates what a multiple barrier approach is, where source water protection is the first session in the approach. To ensure clean and safe drinking water, Halifax Water's source water protection program implements the following. We have dedicated staff to maintain our presence on watershed lands, comprehensive source water protection plans, acquisition of watershed lands when possible, forest management and water supply areas, monitoring of land use activities, collection of water samples to identify and monitor potential sources of contaminants, enforcement of protected water area regulations, collaboration with provincial and municipal regulators and other stakeholders, including the development of best management practices, engagement of outreach, educational opportunities, and the public and other interest parties, industrial leading research opportunities. And our last slide is providing feedback. So with the support from the Lake Major Advisory Board and the province, Halifax Water is hosting these public engagement sessions to help inform form and seek into input on potential amendments to these regulations. We welcome any comments or feedback you have. Comments, feedbacks from the public must be submitted to Halifax Water by November 18th of 2022. Feedback will be gathered and shared with the province. As mentioned earlier, there are two ways. One is online form that you can see below you by the QR code, or submit your feedback in writing to the following addresses below. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. So we do have a written question, which I think I'll be able to answer. The question is, or will we be able to receive a copy of this presentation to our emails? The answer is yes. Anyone who registered for this session, we will send a link to the webpage once this video has been uploaded. I've also included a link to the presentation slides in the chat for this meeting so far, so you're welcome to view that. But this meeting is being recorded and will be posted online. There are no other written questions, and I don't see any raised hands from our attendees. So we'll maybe give that another minute in case anyone wants to raise a hand, and if not, all right. Well, with no raised hands, Barry, I'll leave it to you to sign things off for the night.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight to the presentation. As mentioned, please feel free to provide comments. The more that helps us out with what we'd like to the public information.
Awesome. Thanks very much, everyone.